Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite cozy fall recipes. All of these recipes are healthy, they're warm and comforting, all the things that we love during the fall and winter months. So let's hop right into it.
So the first thing I made was some twice baked broccoli and cheese stuffed potatoes. So for the cheese sauce, I'm adding 2 cups of steamed cauliflower into a blender, 1 cup of non-dairy milk, 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, a half teaspoon of turmeric, a half teaspoon of onion powder, a half teaspoon of sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and I'm adding 1 teaspoon of this bacon seasoning. This is vegan and I got it from the Deliciou website. It's optional, but it adds a nice bacon smoky flavor to it. I'm also adding a teaspoon of their nacho cheese seasoning. Here I have 4 russet potatoes that I previously baked, and I'm just slicing them in half. And I'm scooping out the potato flesh. You don't have to scoop everything out. I actually like leaving a little bit of potatoes in there. And now I'm seasoning the potatoes with some sea salt, black pepper, and a little more of the bacon seasoning. I'm adding a half cup of non-dairy milk and just mashing it with a potato masher. And now I'm adding some of the cheese sauce and 1 cup of steamed broccoli. I ended up adding all of the cheese sauce because as it bakes, it's going to absorb. So don't be afraid to use all the cheese sauce. And also it depends on how many potatoes you have. Now I'm stuffing my potato skins. I have everything lined up on a baking sheet. And if your potatoes start to fall over, then just push them up against each other, like how I have the 2 above. And I bake these at 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Next, I made a creamy and hearty mushroom stroganoff. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of veggie broth into a skillet. You can use oil, but I wanted to cut down on the fat. I'm adding some sliced baby bell mushrooms and 1 diced yellow onion. And I'm letting that cook down. As it cooks down, the broth is going to evaporate, so you're just going to add 2 tablespoons more until it's fully cooked. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, and I let that cook down for about 1 minute, then I remove it from the heat. For the sauce, I'm adding 1 cup of non-dairy milk, 1 cup of canned coconut milk, and I use full-fat coconut milk, 1.5 cups of veggie broth, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and a half cup of this sherry cooking wine. This really adds a lot of flavor, so don't skimp on this. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of dried thyme and 3 tablespoons of flour. And I just let this cook until it thickens. Once it thickens, you can salt and pepper it to taste. And I pre-cooked some of this pasta that I got from Trader Joe's, being that I'm not using the egg noodles. I'm pouring the sauce into the mushroom and onion mixture, giving that a mix. Now I'm adding the pasta. You guys have to try this. This is so good. For my next fall cozy meal, I made black bean soup. This is super easy. I just chopped up whatever vegetables I had on hand. I chopped up some sweet potato, 2 large carrots, a zucchini, 1 yellow onion, and 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. And I'm adding all of this into my Instant Pot. I'm adding in a few bay leaves. You don't eat this, but it adds a lot of flavor to it. 2 cans of rinsed and drained black beans, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, a half teaspoon of dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and 2.5 cups of water. You're going to add 2 to 2.5 cups, just depending on how thick or thin you want it. And I'm adding 2 teaspoons of my favorite vegetable paste. So if you don't have this, then just add veggie broth instead of the paste. I'm adding 1 can of diced tomatoes, 1 small can of hot salsa, and I let it cook on the Instant Pot for 15 minutes. After it was finished, I used my immersion blender and I blended half of the mixture up just so it can be a little more thick and have some chunks in it. At this point, I add some salt and pepper if I feel it needs it. And I normally add some fresh corn or frozen corn, but I didn't have any, so I'm just going to have it like this. And I always eat this over jasmine rice.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you make any of these recipes, feel free to tag me at Fitness on Instagram. And I really appreciate it if you like, commented, and subscribe, and hit the bell button so you can be notified whenever I post a new video. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.